Family, what's going on? We're back. It's been a long time. Should have left you without a dope beat step two. Huh? But the thing is, life gets in the way. But nevertheless, we have a great topic on tonight for another episode of Resurrect the Gospel Live. So, y'all, we're looking forward to y'all coming in. Be sure that y'all come in, say where it is that you're watching from. Make sure that you share it with those that you feel that's going to be relevant to this conversation. I'm actually trying to see now because it says that we're live, but I want to be sure that it can be seen all over. But as y'all can see, I'm not by myself. Huh? I'm not by myself. I got two of my brothers, and I got another panelist that's coming on a little bit later. But man, I got my brothers Brandon right here. I got my brother Jay, and man, I believe this is going to be such a fruitful conversation. And while that's being done, matter of fact, let's start with Jay, and then Brandon will have y'all introduce yourselves, man, and let's go take it from there.
Yeah. Okay, my name is Jay Spady. I've been playing drums in church my whole life. Recently took up playing piano. Used to play at my home church here. But yeah, I have a lot of experience playing music in churches. I played for my campus ministry when I was at ODU too. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to having this conversation.
Yeah, man. What's up, B?
What's going on, everybody? I'm Brandon Williams. Um, I've been in great many facets of church music. I've been a singer, praise and worship leader, probably since I was 16, 17. So I've been around the game for a long time. Had a music group, a gospel group that was probably about 15, 20 years ago, but been around the scene for a minute, seeing how things going, and I'm excited about the conversation.
Yeah, man. Y'all said some get some shout outs in the chat for my brothers, man. And one again, I think y'all off screen, but I think y'all leaving now. It's a Friday night, and y'all really could be doing anything else, but y'all are on here with little old me, and we having this conversation about monies in church, specifically singers and musicians. I was telling the bros off stage that this is a nuanced conversation, and 9 times out of 10, we're not gonna hit everything. But y'all that are watching, be sure that y'all submit your questions, and we're gonna make sure that we try to get to them at the end. But this conversation is so huge. It's a lot of things. Honestly, it's been going on for a minute now, but I've recently been seeing more and more lately that people, whether you preachers, singers, musicians, have been sharing some of the horror stories behind them taking engagements, them feeling like they've been manipulated, lied to, um, some not even knowing how to engage with the other side of the church. Because let's keep it a bean. Church, even though it is the safe haven, this is the buildings where we go to assemble and all, but it is also a business side of church. There's the business side to where you have people who are hired to come in and do a portion of a service. We have musicians who come in that are paid to do that. And you have singers sometimes paid to do that. You have preachers that are paid to do that. So what we wanted to do is to have this conversation in front of you all, hopefully with the takeaway of how we can, one, train others up in this, but then we could also hear from the experience of those like ourselves here that kind of glean from. So I think to start off, man, I know both of you mentioned kind of your segue into all this, but as y'all on to where y'all have felt pushed over or felt like that you wasn't given what was due. I was like, feel free. Anybody can go first.
Well, I say most of for me it was a little different when I started off singing at my home church. I really didn't take any money, so that was kind of where I got my start. and never really accepted anything for leading or being a minister of music. You know what I'm saying? We had a minister of music, but it was like I was over the youth. So then as I progressed, my last church I went to, I was a minister of music.
Got you.
I didn't really get compensated there either. I went there to help them build the ministry. So I kind of accepted it. And for me, it was just I joined, so my heart was just music. So I really didn't bother me either. I just didn't really want to be compensated. I just wanted, because a lot of times, realistically, money tanks a lot of things, especially in church. The business side of it, that's where all these side room conversations and all of the elephant in the room, the business part of it tanks it, and it becomes a problem when the business comes before Jesus.
Absolutely.
If we're talking about the church.
Yeah.
So for me, to keep me focused, I just never really wanted compensation.
Word. I like that. I can appreciate that. What about you, Jay?
Well, I started playing drums at my home church when I was 5, and on little by little, because we had a drummer, but when she left and like she joined the military, I just played every Sunday, and they started just giving me a little small check every Sunday. I didn't even ask for it, so it just became norm for me growing up. I was playing from the age of 5 to the age of, I want to say, 20 when I left for ODU.
Wow.
And then I would come back on the weekends sometimes and play drums.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. But when I played I played piano at night. I didn't get paid there, but I didn't expect to get paid. I didn't even want to get paid, to be honest. I just like playing the music. Just that's like playing the drums back at church. I didn't even expect to get paid. It was just a bonus, to be honest. I just love playing drums.
I feel that. Because I think what I'm hearing from the both of you, one, y'all made it obvious. It was never really about the money. Then it's like if it happened, it did. Right. Now, the piece that I want to really pick at is that both of you had mentioned that you were a part of where you gave your gifts and talents.
Right.
Now, how important is it for you to actually be a part of where it is that you're giving your talents to? Because if I'm gonna be honest, I've seen a lot of musicians, and honestly, it seems like now a lot of worship leaders as well, to where it's like you're church hopping, and it's almost like you're going from gig to gig, and that you're going from stage to stage because whoever paying the most, that's where I'm going.
Right.
So yeah, like how important is it for you to actually plant it where it is that, I guess, not necessarily that you're receiving the check, but that you're actually giving your voice, giving the playing of your hands?
For me, it was that's important, because I guess it's a difference. Just like you saying, if I'm gigging, you know what I'm saying, if I'm just going from church to church, and of course, yeah, you can go sing, you can go play, you could do that at 10 different churches all day long. But what are you getting? What are you getting spiritually? What are you offering to God? Is it really an offering to God? Because you're getting compensated for it. And I get it, but it's like I just believe when you start, like going back to what I said before, when the business starts taking over, Jesus get pushed to the back.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is too, and what I see is the major problem is it's like, okay, well, if I do it for free, what happens when they bring in an artist? They bring the artist in, they pay the artist $5,000-$10,000.
Yeah.
But the one who's been there every Sunday helping you grow your church and usher people into worship,
right,
it makes them feel less than. Because it's like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, I'm saying I don't have to take pay, but you come in and say, okay, we appreciate what you're doing, and here, this is just a little love token from us. You know what I'm saying? You helping us grow the ministry. I get that too. So when they see other artists coming in, or you bringing in other people for money, and you giving them good money, Yeah, make them feel like they're pushed over, they're looked over. So when you have somebody who's committed to the ministry, it's different. I just don't think that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got something to say to that, Jay?
Yeah, I agree with him. Yeah. And like, for me, um, me just being a member at the church I was playing at was just like happenstance because I was born into that church. But speaking from what I know now, I feel like it's very important that the musician is a part of that ministry, and the ministry that they're a part of be teaching sound doctrine so that they're getting the right type of nourishment, and in turn they can nourish people too, because as musicians we are ministers for the Lord. We
Yeah.
are um nourishing people and leading them into that place, like you talked before, Jarius, about that throne, leading them to the throne.
Yeah.
Like the worship leader, the musicians, we all play a part in that.
No, I agree with you because I think the pivotal thing is, to your point, B, is that we're not wanting, we need to keep the main thing, and that being Jesus, right?
Right.
And the biggest crux of it, I think, and you kind of hit on it, is that sometimes when you're serving faithfully for so long, and then you have somebody else come over that's doing the same thing as you do, and then they're actually getting paid all these other stuff, that it kind of can become hard. But I think on the backside of that, and we're gonna come back to it because I really want to dig into that place there, is I think from a leadership aspect, you should also always be honoring who it is that's doing it for, like, from a volunteer aspect.
Right.
Because I think when people are unappreciated, then it looks like you're willing to give other people the thing that I could easily go somewhere else to grab.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think that's the crux of it as a whole. But y'all, we got our last panelist said that she came in. So my good sis Harmonica, her stage name is Nova Rain. She is artist of her own caliber. So, well, her name is Ryan, but like I said, her name is Nova Rain. But yo,
Yeah.
introduce yourself to the people real quick, sis.
What's up, guys? Sorry for my tardiness. My name is Ryan. As Jarius said, my artist name is Norva Rain. Um, and yeah, I am transitioning currently from the secular world into Christian rap and gospel.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
so it's I'm mainly a rapper. That's really what I do. Boom bap, very old school style hip hop. But I am transitioning. So
Okay.
Word.
yeah,
What's
Yeah,
up?
we like
yeah.
it. Y'all clap it
Yeah.
up for her
Yeah.
in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
do
Yeah.
all of that, man.
Thank
Like,
you.
yo, one,
Thank you.
Yeah.
that's
Thank
mad
you.
huge. Now, Ryan brings the other aspect to it. And when we were actually talking about this last night after a Bible study, that
Hmm.
even this topic as a whole, as a yes, we're relating it to the church, but Ryan, if you don't mind, kind of
Hmm.
say a little bit of your experience when it comes to being an artist, going to these places and being compensated and or not being compensated. Because from what you told me in the
Hmm.
stories that I've heard on the church side, it sounds like it's very similar on the
Oh,
other
it's
side as well.
very, very similar. Because I've seen both sides of it. I haven't been in both sides per se yet, but I've seen both sides. So the reality is most people don't have a budget. Like they want a favor, and that's that. And I get it to a degree because everybody has to start somewhere, right? Um, and they want to build a platform or whatever the case may be, a showcase, whatever it is that they're doing. And in the beginning, yes, I did a lot of that. I did a lot of selling tickets in order to perform, or essentially paying to perform directly or indirectly, for exposure. Um, and it was those situations where it was like the most unprofessional.
Mm,
Nothing is in
Hmm.
order, nothing's on time, the equipment doesn't work right. They want you to do it for free and then not have the proper setups and be punctual. And so I decided as an artist, like, I'm not performing for free. like I'm not doing it anymore. I
Mhm.
do it maybe for a handful. If I'm doing something collaborative, like we decide we're going to put this show case together as a group of artists, that's one
Yeah.
thing. But for those who reach out and they want me, I'm a mother of three, to get a sitter because I have to in order to go perform, to come looking good, hair done, makeup, outfit, to travel, to, it costs for me to be here. So at a minimum, I expect to be able to cover what it costs me to be here.
Right.
And a lot of people don't get that perspective. So I just got to a point where I was like, look, as soon as somebody reaches out, I'm like, what's your budget?
Hmm.
Because it's not all about money, but when it comes to that, when they want you to travel, they want you to do this, they want you to have a band, they want you to do it. I have to pay a band, so what's your budget? um and that really eliminates people almost immediately. The
Yeah.
other side of that is I'm a songwriter, so in the same sense, you have to stand your ground with that because people want you to write for them for free, or they just want to give you royalties if something pops off, or so it's just so many aspects of where you really have to stand your ground and build value in yourself because people aren't going to do it. And as a result, most people know now not to reach out to me if they're not paying. um it is what it is. Now what I have seen, um because I have a lot of friends who are musicians in churches and stuff. I have some who are on a payroll, like they make their same amount every Sunday. They get paid the same amount, and that's the income they get.
Mhm.
Because they've been doing it for so long. And then there's some who they really have to fight for it. Um, and even with the songwriting, from my experience, the secular artists are easier to work with.
Wow.
Mm.
That
Wow.
says a lot.
Yeah, that does.
That speaks a
Wow.
they're
lot.
they're a lot easier to work with because they are who they are. There's no pretending because unfortunately
Wow.
in the church it's a lot of pretending.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm.
so they are who they are. They have a budget and they have a booked amount of studio time or whatever the case may be. So they're there to get it done. A lot of times with churches, it can be a lot of underhanded. They say they're going to pay you XYZ, and then you get there and they don't have all of it, or they have half of it, or and it's just like that's not what we talked about. That's not what we agreed to. And it's not all about money, but I do expect if we're doing business to do business.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so that's what I've seen so far. And I have a friend of mine, I call her my sis, who is a songwriter as well. She's got Grammys, and she has said the same thing. She's like,
Wow.
unfortunately, the gospel artists are the hardest to work for. The gospel record labels are the hardest to work for. They never
Wow.
have the money when they're supposed to have it. They do, the business is not what it's supposed to be, and it's
Wow.
unfortunate because you expect the opposite.
And and I mean, I think that's kind of what goes on in church. And
Hmm.
a lot of, as you look at the different conversations that are like on Instagram and Facebook, like the problem a lot of times is the musicians. I don't even think it's about the money. A lot of times it's about the integrity. Like if I come and
Mhm.
tell you I'm gonna give you $200 or $300, give them $200 or $300. Don't get
Right.
there and say, okay, we don't got it. We're gonna give you a chicken plate. That's the
Yeah.
part. So it's like
Yeah.
if once you commit to that, that's what I've been saying. The integrity
Hmm.
of the leaders has
Hmm.
been off. You got me.
Wow.
You say you're gonna pay them, pay them, pay them what you said you're gonna pay them.
Yeah.
That
It
part.
sets the tone. It
Yeah,
it
it
really
does.
sets the tone. The first interaction really sets the tone for future endeavors. Like, all right, if you
Yeah.
say do what you say you're gonna do,
Right.
even if something comes up where the budget gets messed with, because sometimes things happen, or
Yeah.
where you need to pay me
Absolutely.
tomorrow instead of today, or pay me next week, then I'm more willing to work with that if you've been who you said you were going to be from day one, and did what you said you were going to do from the beginning.
Right. But a lot of times, they know that coming in. Let me know that
Right.
coming in. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Don't wait till I'm finished. Tell me up front. And a lot of the musicians, they
Hmm.
willing to work. They willing to
Yeah.
work
Hmm.
with you. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them are not like
Absolutely.
that. They willing to deal with because we know life happens. So if you
Hmm.
know you ain't got it till tomorrow, tell me that ahead of time. Let me
Right.
know that ahead of time. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
And I think the big word y'all said right there is integrity.
Yeah.
And it speaks a lot of volumes when we're saying collectively that lack of integrity is present in the church.
Right.
And I
That's
think
rough.
it is because I mean let's really keep it a bag. Like it's rough when we all knew growing up, like church was the place where everybody ran to.
Right.
Like wanted if you like wanted healing, whatever the case may be, like the church was such an instrumental part of the Black community. Well, community as a whole. I ain't gonna say off race and all that, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I think the issue has grown from the business side, and because of the lack of integrity, even from pulpits, from those who claim the moniker as Christian, like it has forced people to go seeking refuge in other places. And then, especially when we're talking about, particularly to this conversation with musicians, singers, songwriters, all of that, that lack of integrity causes us to lose trust in leadership to where now we automatically are going to look at it as a gig rather than this is somewhere that I can grow at. So
Right.
now, Jay, I know you kind of this is something we talk about like on the side, but as far as specifically with integrity and leadership aspect, I think you spoke on it. Where have you seen not even just a lack of integrity, but what are the dangers, in your opinion, of the lack of integrity when it comes from leadership?
I think the biggest danger is like a lot of these people that come to play, they've probably like some people never really been in church their whole life, or they're just coming to church and want to use their talents for church. And
Mhm.
if that's the first thing they're met with, they're going to judge Christianity as a whole off of this one encounter. And I feel like when they hear other people talking about this, it confirms their thought process, and they end up blaming the church, they end up blaming the faith, and for like the actions of those who lack integrity.
Mm. I'm gonna let somebody else speak to that because I got a question that just came in my mind when you said that. If y'all want to,
Yeah. I mean, I think
I
it.
so
Go ahead. Go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, Rain.
No, no, so well, first of all, you said something a few minutes ago that stuck with me, and that's it makes leadership look bad when the integrity isn't there. Because a lot of times leadership they don't even know what's really going on. And I've just seen it too much because, for example, I did the Mighty Dream festival or conference with Pharrell a few years ago, and it was really cool. It was something, downtown Norfolk that was, I think, personally better than something in the water. I wish he would do that every year. And it was so much going on. I was like, I know that he has no idea that this is what's going on. There's no way
mm.
that he knows that his people are not. There's no way he approves of this. You know what I'm saying? There's no way he knows that this is what's going on or what's not going on. I'm sure this is not what he would approve of. And then, I was just like, but people are going to say Pharrell did this. Pharrell's Mighty Dream for Pharrell because he's the face of it. But he
That's a
don't know
great.
that his team isn't holding up to the integrity that I'm sure he holds them to, but they're not, doing what they're supposed to do when he's not around.
Yeah.
That's a great point. And I know B, I know you about to come in hot, but I want to make plain what she's saying.
Okay.
Not every time that something's going wrong or there's a lack of integrity that the head person knows what's going on because there's so many moving parts. Go ahead.
So my question is why?
Well, here you go.
Why? I mean, if it's, I, all right, I'm gonna just say it.
Go ahead.
A lot of the issue is the leaders.
Mm,
Sometimes their intentions are so off. Okay, so just like you said about um, being committed to a ministry and just coming and gigging, are you more concerned with the sound, or are you more concerned with how people are living that are
mm,
up, leading your people into worship, quote unquote? But
Mm-hmm.
so my question is, when you do this, how you have them leading, and we supposed to be ushering people into worship, into deliverance, if they ain't been delivered.
Well,
So I'm so focused on, oh, that person right there, they're gonna draw people and they sound so great.
Mm-hmm.
We don't ever give God the space to just anoint the little old regular voice over here
right.
that's just anointed and loves the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, I'm gonna bring in this one right here because they sound good. I don't care where you've been playing at. I don't care how you live. I'm just bringing you in.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is,
Mm-hmm.
in my household, I can't tell you, I'm the leader of my household.
Right.
If my daughters are doing something, it's gonna get to me. How do I address that? I can't just say, oh, I didn't know about it. Because
Mm-hmm.
somehow, some way, you're gonna hear about it. It's gonna get back to you. I don't know how stuff happens in churches. It always get back to the pastor. It
Some
Yeah.
way,
always get
somehow.
back to the pastor some way, somehow. Somebody gonna talk about it. The problem is, like I said, the pastor turning their heads to stuff that's going on.
Ooh.
It's like having bad kids. Like
It,
as a parent, the greatest compliment I can get is they're so well mannered, they're so
right,
respectful,
right,
they're great because
yeah,
I've instilled that at home, so they know they better not go out there and act a fool.
right,
For sure.
I guess in the same sense, leadership isn't instilling that because these we could say kids is going out and acting a fool.
right.
So how? Yeah, something's off.
Yeah,
Something's off.
it's totally
Wow.
off. Yeah.
Huh.
So
Now,
and back to what Jay was saying too. I think I've experienced a whole lot of musicians now that from being at my last church, trying to get people to come fill in. Oh no, I don't play at churches no more. I never played at church again. Like what?
Mm-hmm.
No, I ain't never gonna play the church. And
Mm-hmm.
it was more so like, wow, why? No, churches just done me wrong. So going back, like that experience is so bad. Cause here go the
Mm-hmm.
other side to that too. How do I sit under you if you show me you don't have no integrity?
that's facts.
Yeah.
How do I pick you to be my leader? No, I
Yeah.
don't want no part of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Facts.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm done. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, because what I was gonna say is I think musicians for the longest time have gotten this bad rap of that they don't want to be pastored, and I think that's completely false.
I think so too.
I think even using Ryan as an example, like you were saying, like she was in the secular and she's making that transition, which is great, that's phenomenal. But even if she wasn't, that would she still feel comfortable sitting under leadership that uh that had lack of integrity? Because let's keep it a bean. Not everybody who has the gift of songwriting, singing, playing is going to be playing for the church, and that's perfectly fine. However,
Mm-hmm.
when they do come, do they feel comfortable sitting under leadership that's more worried about their life and their soul rather than it is necessarily what they're doing? Now, I ain't saying that gives a license for everybody to go out and be wilding. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like you can be
Mm-hmm.
in the outside of the church and still utilize your gifts, but then you still
Yeah.
have to act what it is that you're proclaiming. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
You gotta
So
stand on it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
it
I
go ahead.
I have two organizations, I'll say, or platforms. If the name is mentioned or they're associated, I will not do a show. And that's
Ooh.
because they have shown me who they are and I believe them. They have not paid artists historically. They have finesse. They have said they're going to pay you this. You get there. You're about to go on stage before you find out they all of a sudden can't pay you. And I have no parts. If I know a leader has certain ways about them, whether it's like off into some type of stuff I'm just not into, I don't want no association. So I'm
Yeah.
very intentional on who and where I perform. There are certain venues where, or in the past, where I get there and I'm realizing, oh, this place got a whole lot more going on than I
Mm.
knew. I don't want to be associated. I don't want to perform here. And this was before I decided to transition. And I'm still in a transitionary phase because I still have other shows that at Rodder Brown's and here and there. I've just taken all cursing out of my music, and I'm redirecting. Because I feel like I can still speak to people in those spaces. I'm just changing my narrative.
Yeah.
And my intention. I've never been like a raunchy or anything like that. But do I curse in some of my music? Yes. So I don't. I'm removing that. I'm removing some subject matters.
Yeah.
But the spaces and the association is very important to me. If I get wind that it's off, I've pulled out. I recently pulled out of a festival at the beach because God convicted me of it.
Mm.
I got to 2 days before the show and had to tell the guy, and thankfully he was receptive. I said, look, I don't know what your relationship with God is, but I listen to him when he speaks to me, and he's telling me not to do this show. It doesn't feel right spiritually. And they
Yeah.
had to respect it. They were able to fill my slot last minute, and I hated to do that on a lack of professionalism. I'm very big on
Yeah.
professionalism, but in that case it didn't sit well with my spirit, so I pulled out.
Mm.
Mm.
There's a lesson in that for those who are listening. That's starting to be requested and things like that. Listen. You
Yeah. No, that's right.
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? So, because I
Mhm.
think, and I think even to that, it's such a huge portion with it, because I believe that you protecting what we call your witness and you
Mhm.
protecting what your relationship with that is to the utmost importance. I mean, and even to your point, what you were saying, Ryan, like, yeah, you don't want to do that with it being so close. But I think
Mhm.
on the other side of it, people would feel like because we're so close, I'm still gonna push through it because I gave a commitment.
Mm.
Right.
But to your point, you since there's something was off, let's go ahead and listen to it, because if we even looking at the spiritual aspect of it, we don't know what could be going on there, and
Mhm.
then we don't know what type of principalities, kingdom of darkness, demons, whatever the case may be operating in that spot.
Right.
And
Mhm.
not to like call you out, Ryan, but I know you
Mhm.
kind of came a little bit out of that. So if you get like a little short version
Mhm.
of that,
Oh yeah. Oh,
let's
I
talk
came
about.
out of it. Let's talk about it. So um I was looking for answers in all the wrong places. Mind you, I was practically raised in church. My grandmother is a minister. Um, but I just avoided. I won't say I avoided it. I just didn't want to be there because I saw so much. It was that
Mm,
church hurt where you see people that you think have integrity, that you think are a certain way, and then you see how they really are, and you're like, this isn't God. This isn't how this is supposed to be. I don't want to be
yeah,
here. So it gave me that relationship with church and church folk. So I started looking other places because I'm like, well, if these people are supposed to be representing God and they living like this, well, it got to be some answers somewhere else that makes sense.
mm,
So I started looking for answers in all the wrong places. I started consulting mediums and um, coming cool with witches, not knowing they were witches.
right,
Letting people speak certain things over my life because, oh, you're a healer, oh, you're this, you're that, which I know that I'm something because I've been told it my whole life. But I was like, I don't know if that, I don't know if that's it. But I got into that world. I was smoking weed, every day to a point I felt I had to have it.
yeah,
Um, I was just in that world, and in the music world, in the industry, it's real easy to get into that, and
Mm.
it's people who are Christian rappers, gospel, they doing it too. So it's just like I'm in it, and I don't even know how deep into it. I don't even know the grief that I'm causing God. Like I don't have a clue because I'm
wow,
ignorantly in this. And it took me having some very dark, very scary moments with Satan.
mm,
Mm.
You know, it
Wow.
took me having some very scary demonic moments in my life that scared me back to reality. And in the industry world, it's a lot of darkness. It's really easy to get caught up in it. And I just had a lot of darkness. I was burning sage. I was manifesting things, and I was doing all of that. And then one day I just had an experience. I'll tell y'all. I'll go ahead and tell y'all. I went to wake up one morning. My alarm went off, and I swear I got up like I normally would, and I had like a vanity in my room. I walked to my vanity like I normally would, cut the light on, and my face was like something out of a horror movie.
Wow.
My face looked like it was pale. My eyes were black. I had like black stuff coming out of my eyes. I looked like something. My reflection looked like something out of a horror movie.
Wow.
And it scared me back to my bed. So I got back in my bed, and I started saying the Lord's Prayer. I started calling on Jesus. That's the only thing I knew to do in that moment, was to call on God, call on God. And I'm like under my blanket like a kid. Like I got the blanket over my head. I'm terrified. Like, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to be going to work. And I keep praying. And eventually I hear a voice say, go back to the mirror. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not going back to that mirror. And it's like, no, go back to the mirror. And I felt peace enough to do it.
Yeah.
And I went back to the mirror, and this time I saw probably the most beautiful version of myself.
Wow.
My eyes were like this amber color, and my skin was glowing. I was the complete opposite of what I saw.
Yeah.
And so I knew that God was present. I knew that my prayers had worked because he was in the room. He was in the space. But what I saw previously scared the life out of me. To see that as my reflection. I guess that was you get too dark, you get too deep. Like you playing with dangerous stuff. And so I learned the hard way. I had encounters, and actually had an encounter with what I do believe to be Christ himself. Not too long after that, because I had a lot of like activity going on in my house. My son telling me that there's a war going on in his bedroom at night, the good angels and the bad angels. Like it was bad. I wasn't sleeping. I was scared to go to sleep in my own house, and had people telling me Jesus was gonna come visit me. Now, mind you, I'm still consulting psychics, but I got prophets and church people telling me, "Hey, Jesus is coming to visit you," just randomly in random places. I'm like, okay. And sure enough, one night I was sitting up in my bed because I was scared to go to bed, and I went to doze off, and I just felt this warmth at the foot of my bed, and I went to sit up, and it was just a bright light, and I just heard a voice, and I saw a silhouette, nothing clear. It was a presence, and it just said, "Rest, my child."
Yeah, man.
Wow.
It filled the whole room. He said, "Rest, my child," and I finally went to sleep. And the activity finally ceased.
Wow.
You know, but it took all of that because I was disobedient. And it's so easy to get sucked into. It's so easy when the church is not what you thought it was. It's really easy to go look for answers in the wrong places. So that integrity is so deep. And I wish that leaders knew the impact that they have. Because I've got a song called The Outside. I kind of regret it now, but it's who let the church outside, you know, because it felt like the church people were the problem. You know?
You know, I think even to your point, I mean, and it kind of goes along with Jay, what you were saying, like point blank and spot on. Because I think the issue now, even when we talk about with church, musicians, songwriters, all of that, we have mirrored so much of the other outside of the walls, and a lot of that's fed into us, but it was like we were never supposed to be in that not let me word this correctly. Not that we weren't supposed to be out there, because the word says that we're in the world but not of it, right? So we've seen
Yeah.
people, and we have people who are supposed to be in those areas of business, supposed to be in the
Mm-hmm.
in industries and being a light for that, but then we're not supposed to use tactics of the world to draw people to the kingdom. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
what you mentioned kind of even segues into the question I had earlier,
Mm-hmm.
that do we think that the lack of integrity from leadership causes those, to your point, what you said, Brandon, earlier, that now we have people who are filling these slots, but then they're not acting and being what we expect them to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we hear a lot of the times where I don't know if y'all, I heard it a whole lot, that a lot of, whether you was male or female, you didn't date musicians or singers because they were the worst ones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do we think that was the cause of that?
Partly,
Partly, I could see that.
partly, yeah. I
I
feel
could
like,
see that.
yeah, like when you getting when you're hiring people that has no relationship with Christ and bringing them into the church, and then they get in here, and it's like, you know, they gravitate toward, the young ladies and the young men of the church, like and they might not be at a place yet where they can spot like or have discernment about those things in their spiritual
Mhm.
walk. And so they end up getting mixed up with these individuals, and it sets a precedent for all church musicians. It's like, yeah, they dogs. And I feel like more like the more people who get into the situation, the more it sets the precedent. But on the other
Mm-hmm.
side, I feel the other side of that stigma can just be people who are just not where they need to be in their walk.
Hmm.
Manipulating to use it.
Yeah,
There's plenty of that.
yeah.
A lot of that.
And
Go ahead, B.
I guess the tag to what y'all are saying too, if you look at it like this, if I'm the pastor and I say, okay, um, and you don't have to verbally say it, but if I bring Jay Spady in to come play the drums, I'm saying Jay Spady is a good person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
vouching for Jay Spady
yeah.
because I'm whoever you bring to your platform, you vouch for them in church.
Mm-hmm.
So if I bring you, I'm telling all the ladies out there, hey, Jay's a good catch, guys. I'm letting him come up here and lead in my church under me. So
Hmm.
he's a good dude.
Yeah,
So I think that plays into it too.
Yeah,
Because
Mm-hmm.
people take high regard in what the pastor thinks.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's facts.
And
That's
and
facts.
meanwhile, I can't tell you how many musicians I know to play for the church. And before they go in the parking lot, they get high before they go play for the Lord. Like
yeah.
what?
Oh my goodness.
There's a lot
So
of that.
are they supposed to be playing in the church?
No,
Okay.
I don't
Well,
think
No,
so.
there lies the
but
problem.
here's the thing, and one of my brothers said the pastors on the other side be doing the same thing. Now here's what I put the wrench in. Now, yes, they are doing this, but you already have hired them to do the thing, and it kind of even
Mm-hmm.
goes with what TJ had his question earlier was that um if the leader is bringing them in to do this, like they're hiring them for this, is it
Mm-hmm.
wrong for them not to treat it like a gig then?
So the question is, if I hire you, is there a standard? I think the problem is there is no standard.
Mm-hmm.
I hire you based upon your sound, and the bigger you are, the lower the standard is set for you. The
Mm-hmm.
bigger your name,
Interesting.
the more you draw, the lower I let the standard be.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And that shouldn't be the same. The standard should
It's a
be
lot
the
of that.
standard.
Uh-huh.
So the
It's a
bigger
lot of
you
that.
are, the lower the standard is. But it was,
It,
you know
it,
how backwards that sound coming out your mouth.
that's terrible. But if I fill up your seats, you turn your back to my lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
tough. So
It's a lot of
I don't
that.
care. I don't care I don't care if you a man and you sleeping with all the women if you're filling up my seats. I don't
Right.
care if you're a homosexual leading worship if you're filling up my seats.
Mm-hmm.
So that becomes the business, and we move Jesus to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whew.
It's a lot of that.
Somebody said, where can they give you an offering?
Oh goodness.
Yo,
Oh boy.
no, but I think you really hit something there, and this is why part of the reason why I wanted to have this conversation and I have some leadership on as well, because that's such a regular thing,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll hire people. Let's say like case point example, just made up situation. This ain't nothing real, so y'all don't come for me. If you do, I got something for you.
I got
Anyway,
your back.
but yo, let's say we having a revival night. Let's say just making up a name, John Doe is one of the hottest things out there now, or there's a lot of people that are listening to them, whether they a preacher, singer, whatever the case may be. But I also, when I meet John Doe and let me also say this, I hate green room culture. And what I mean by that, green room culture is where people like to come in and make deals when you're supposed to be about a main thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a whole lot of side stuff going on. But anyway, getting back to the example, John Doe, afterwards, we going out to eat. Now they ordering a whole bunch of drinks and you getting zooted while we after the thing that I brought you in for.
Hmm.
And I think to your point, B, he's still going to
Mm-hmm.
circulate. But I think the problem is, even in that example, is other leadership won't let other leaders know this guy or this woman, John, Jane Doe, whoever, ain't really what they cracked up to be. Their gift is amazing, but the
Mm-hmm.
character is all jacked up.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
I got one
Oh,
for you.
exactly.
I got one for you. And I don't like to call names, but for the sake of what we're doing, let's say an artist named Leandra
I
Johnson.
had it in my head. I'm gonna do it.
She's on her live showing you who she is. How does she keep on getting invited to churches? And I'm not saying she's a bad person. What I'm saying is, at what point does the leader see? I think the leaders are going to be held accountable for this because we're not talking about the world. We're talking about the church. The
Yeah,
only thing that
Mm-hmm.
matters in there is people giving their life to Christ.
right.
Right.
How does she ever give her life to Christ if she's pouring out? That's all you calling her in to do is use her gift and pour out.
Yeah,
Somebody
Mm-hmm.
need to call her in to be poured into.
for
No, we
sure.
don't want you
Mm-hmm.
to come sing. We want you just to be a part of what we got. Why can't nobody bring her in and let's grow together to get
Mm,
you to a place where then you can minister to the people of God and use your gift like God gave it to you? No, we
Mm-hmm.
so busy. Oh, she's gonna blaze. They're gonna run through the church. They're gonna be shouting. The people gonna
Mm-hmm.
come. It's more about that than Christ. So the
yeah,
pastors do know in
Yeah.
some instances, and they don't care. They don't care.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But I think even
It's
to add on to
business.
that,
It's transactional.
and that's exactly what I was going into. I think where we mess up from a leadership aspect. Now, granted, I've never been in this position, so people correct me if I'm wrong. If you're in leadership watching this or whatever case may be, I think where we mess up is that we have the first instance of the relationship is transactional. So now,
Mm-hmm.
since that's the foundation, how do I go about just flipping the script on that?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's already set in stone that who you are to me is you're helping me to get this thing done, and because of your service, now I'm paying you. And then even if you're using a Leandra Johnson, like you put her name on a flyer, people are going to come because they want to be entertained,
Right.
There
and
you go.
because they want to be entertained, I'm going to give you offering.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
And I
And
feel
that
like
that,
too
that
is I'm sorry, go ahead.
go wait, no, go ahead. I'm talking too much. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. No, you're saying the things that need to be said. I feel like it's transactional because they need a slot filled and they
Yeah,
don't want to take the time to qualify these people. Like
Mhm.
when you get an approval, like do you pre-qualify? Do you look at their social media? Like I
Right,
feel like these are things that need to be done
right.
because you bringing people into a space that are not what they're pretending to be. I compare it to my thoughts of marriage, and at least in Virginia. You can get married with a piece of paper in a couple of days. Like it takes nothing to get married, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be separated for a year to get a divorce. And I feel like it should be the complete opposite sometimes. Like y'all should have some sort of understanding, counseling, something for a year before you can get married.
Yeah.
To get to know each other,
Right.
to know if y'all really want to do this. So
Absolutely.
I feel like there should be that same type of process when you're bringing people into your sacred place. I don't let anybody in my house.
That's it.
I get it.
I don't like, I'm like, who's you bringing with you? Don't just be bringing nobody with you, like on that level. So I get that the church is open, you're supposed to receive everybody, but it's like when
Yeah.
you're talking about your worship ministry and the people
Right.
that are leading people into worship, I feel
Right.
like it needs to
Right.
oh, sorry.
Are you all good?
Far more intentional with that.
Right. Can I and I'll give you an example, and I've used this before. A lot of times in church we say, okay, well, you can't judge. But in the Bible, God clearly gives us the scripture where he talks about the fruits. You
Thank
know, a
you.
tree by the fruit it bears. Okay, so with that instance, the example I give is like this. I just used my household as an example earlier. I got 4 daughters. All right. As it pertains to me bringing in people in my house. Why would I bring a guy into my house and introduce him to my daughters that is a weed smoker, that's always getting drunk, that doesn't have any drive, and doesn't know the Lord? Why do I bring them in my house and introduce them to my daughter? How dangerous is that? Because at the end of the day, I introduced them.
Yeah.
So when I bring them in my house, I'm going to say it again, I approve them. I approve that person. I approve that guy. So for us to stand back and say, "Oh no, that's judging," you're looking at it wrong. No, these are fruits, and people. The reality of it is, we need help. These people need help. We don't need a microphone.
Yeah.
We don't need a platform.
Yeah.
We need Jesus.
Yeah.
Period. And like I said, it's so much going on.
Yeah.
And I mean, realistically, the big thing is almost like, how do you be a leader and bring in these people and put them up on your platform and you okay them?
Yeah.
This is who you are giving to your sheep. And you are saying, hey guys, this is okay. This is all right. You can do this. God is cool with this. And I think these pastors are going to have to pay for this. That's what I personally think. I think the penalty is going to be grand when they see Christ.
Oh yeah. I mean, because again, if let's stick with the ones who are called. Let's do that, because I'm gonna hit the other end.
Exactly.
There you
I'm gonna
go.
hit the other end. The ones that are called, yes, you're gonna have to pay for that. Or even if you're not called and you're saying that you are, whoever you bring up in your spot, you're gonna do that. I shared something, I forget where it's located, but even then, I think it's James 3:1 says that not all of you should be teachers because you're gonna be judged harshly. That applies to pastors, the fivefold, deacons, whatever. If you call yourself teaching the word of God, whatever you teach or whatever you are over, and you're letting just any and everybody on to that, they're going to follow you regardless. And the sad fact about it, let's hit the body of Christ real quick. Most of us don't do our own due diligence of study, so we don't know who's real and who's not.
There you go.
We can't even discern who's stating something that has nothing to do with the Bible at all.
Right.
Now, let's hit it on the other end. It was brought up in the chat as well. Some of the pastors who are calling themselves pastors or whatever the case may be aren't really called by God themselves. So really what you're inviting into your space is somebody that is similar to yourself. So you're not calling yourself, and now I'm bringing somebody else who's resembling who I am. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. To me, it questions that leader fruit, because I believe birds of a feather flock together. I believe if we got something in common, I'm gonna promote you, and there lies the problem. So it goes back. You said that I just didn't want to go there. You got all these pastors who are not called, who are up there for a paycheck. They thought this was a good business. This was a good scheme for me to get up here and get some money and get that bag. And it's easy to do, and it
It's a
is.
performance. It's not.
It's a
It's not.
performance.
It's a performance.
It's a
They go
performance.
home and they practice in the mirror. They say the
100%.
things, the church things. They
100%.
do the church movements. They do, but there's no anointing. There's no calling, and that's where, for me, I'll say, with transformation, I finally feel at home in a church, because previously it just didn't feel right. Like, I just didn't believe them.
I get it.
I didn't believe them. I'm like,
I get it.
And I say that about certain artists. Like, certain artists just have it, and then certain artists, I just don't believe them. Like, no matter how hard they try, I don't believe them. And so with PJ, I believe him. I believe everything that he's saying. I believe it's not an act. He takes accountability, that he's human. And today I got mad while I was driving, just like you did. I'm like, dang, I did that too. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a human. And so that makes a difference. It makes such a difference. So yeah. And the church is the first church I've gone to, and I'm sure it's probably some people that got some mess with them. That's anywhere. But so far, my interactions have been genuine. It don't feel put on. Right. And in experience, right, I've dealt with a lot of acting, a lot of and like, who are you really? And I'm maybe a little more guarded and apprehensive, because I have seen things. I've been in places when I used to because I used to party, I used to drink, I used to do all the things. And in those spaces, at these elite parties and things that I was at, I'm seeing pastors, I'm seeing senators, I'm seeing DEA agents that are dealing the drugs. I'm seeing all these things. So it's just like, and one night I got convicted, and God been trying to, like, he been talking to me for a long time. I was just very disobedient. I can now in hindsight be like, girl. But one day I was literally in a garage with a pastor, a judge, and a DEA agent smoking with the drugs that the DEA agent bought.
Wow.
From a bust. Wow. The night before. Okay. And I realized in that moment, things were not, I was just like, this is the pastor, very well known, I won't say no names, that these people go to church every Sunday, and and it wasn't just that he was smoking, it was so many other things going on that he was participating in. So it's just like, that was what I got to see of leadership in the church. So I had a bad taste in my mouth. Yeah. Oh, I'm seeing it behind closed doors. I'm seeing it in very elite situations with its senators, its pastors, its judges. It's all these people in these rooms, and everybody is doing some of everything you can imagine. Wow. I'm talking on some Diddy party type stuff. Wow. So I'm like, I got a rude awakening, like, oh, nobody is who I think they are. But the pastor is what really threw me. I stopped going to church for a long time after that, because I was a member of his church at that time. Wow.
Wait a minute. Hold it.
Yes.
Pause.
Yes.
You're saying that you were in these parties and you were smoking with the person that you were under the leadership of?
Yes.
Crazy work.
And I was like, I'm not going back there. This is who he is. And there were already rumors of other things, but this was like what I'm seeing with my own eyes behind closed doors. I was like, I'm not going back there. And then what I realized, though, were that the members in that church were a direct reflection, because a lot of them were there too.
I believe that.
A lot of them were in those parties too. So I was like, oh, this is a whole really dysfunctional culture.
Right. What's on the head is on the bottom.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yep. So that is another reason I was out of church for a long. I wouldn't step foot in the church, because I'm like, I don't believe none of this.
And honestly, I don't blame you, because the truth of the matter is, I mean, obviously, outside of the obvious sin aspect, like
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing convicting about any of that there, especially if we're talking about Jesus.
Right.
No.
And yes, Jesus hung with, talked to, ate with sinners, beggars, tax collectors, and all that. We're in a culture of we really try to test how much we can get away with God and still be called.
Ooh.
Mm.
And I think that's the biggest portion of it right now. So even if we're talking about those who are preaching, pastoring, singing, playing, like, yo, because such and such ain't gonna pretty much sit me down because I am who I am, I'm gonna see how much I can get away with. And because people still gonna call me.
Great.
Right.
People still gonna request me, but it's like I'm so convinced now more than ever that if we're not in spaces to where, to your point, Ryan, that is real and that is convicting me to be and to look more and to sound more like Jesus, then I would venture out to say that you're probably part of a dead church.
Yep.
That's very strong words, but I mean every bit of it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, for sure.
we're at this, and we hear it all the time, but like, it's the reality. I think me and Jay, we was talking about it before. Like, yo, we don't have time.
We don't.
We don't have as much time as we think we do.
We don't. We don't. We
And
don't.
even towards this conversation, that if you're gospel artist, whatever the case may be, what is your music actually leading people to? Because regardless, whoever's listening to it, you're leading them somewhere.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what does it look like when I'm not on stage and I don't have a mic?
Right.
Do you see me out doing these things?
Right.
Do you see me? I'm a married man. Hypothetically speaking, I'm saying this. If you were to see me out and you would see me with another woman, what that look like?
Crazy.
And you see me every Sunday with a mic in my hand.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Like, come on. People don't want to be a part of nothing that people are fronting and putting on for, because, yo, I can do all that and stay where I am.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now I said that, Jay, I know you've been staying, laying back and being quiet, man. So what's your thoughts on what we've been on it so far? Like, where your head at?
Which particular thing?
Any of it.
We said a lot. It's a lot to unpack here.
It's a lot. I see a comment though. This guy right here says, talking about the seminaries are full of graduates who, they're not called, but the church is easy scheme. Yeah, I think that's the one thing I wanted to. I was looking at and wanted to address first was that.
Yeah.
And like a lot of these seminaries, from my experience, I've been looking when I was searching for seminaries, is that you really got to read into what they're about. And a lot of these seminaries are broken. They are not biblical, and they're more catered to culture, and that's what breeds these type of people, these type of leaders. Because like the seminary that I'm attending right now, there's an extensive process to even get accepted. Like there, you have to be a part of a church. That leader has to be accountable for you. You have to sign like an agreement, and you have to have a statement of faith in everything. And I feel like a lot of seminaries don't do that, and that's what leads to the leaders that y'all were talking about.
Interesting. So I'm gonna make all this connect for y'all that's following along. So what you're saying is, for your specific seminary, you had to go through this extensive process just to get accepted. Like, they had to know where it is that you stem from, where it is you come from, not that you just trying to get up on here for a career move. You know?
Yeah.
But what we're saying on the other side of it is that there's many, according to the comment, a lot of these other programs, seminaries, don't have that such extensive process. So now we're just putting any and everybody in these seats, and then we're asking them to uphold a standard that they know nothing about, which, even pertaining to this conversation, now I am bringing in anybody who sounds good, because now they're able to pay what it is that let me say how I want to say it. Now, because there's not a standard, and I didn't go through this extensive process, I now am bringing in people that I know can draw, that I know who sound good, that I know who are worried about a sound to pay my bills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's crazy, Jay.
It's
Somebody
crazy.
asked a question about collabing with secular.
Yeah. I'm matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up. But I want everybody to hit this. So I'm gonna bring it up on here. So here's the question. It said, what is the church's problem with believers collaborating with non-believers musically so long as the music doesn't dishonor the faith?
Y'all want to go first?
I'm about to say I'll break the ice because I ain't had to answer no question. So me personally, I don't think there's a problem with the collaboration as a whole. I think the people who have the most issues with it are those that are hyper religious, and which let's even the playing field. Some of the artists that folks are collaborating with, they do have the raunchy side. I can understand that. What I will say to the artists of the faith that's collaborating with the supposed non-believer, I think there should be a bridge of sorts to where if you're collaborating with them, then you're agreeing to walk with them.
Yep.
Because they wouldn't have agreed to the collaboration if they weren't in search for something.
Mm-hmm.
That's my personal thing. So me personally, I don't see a quote unquote issue with the collaboration to the point that it doesn't dishonor the faith. However, I will say it does put the believer into question that if from that collaboration afterwards we don't see a change in the non-believer, that's where I start to question a little bit of it to where did you just do it just to draw another crowd?
Mm-hmm.
We got a good example of that.
You said what?
We got a good example of that. Like that when we see when when Glorilla released her album and we had that one gospel song on there. Was it Kurt Franklin? Wasn't it Kurt Franklin that did it?
Yeah, it was Kurt Franklin.
Yeah, and I feel like he's been put into a place where he has the attention of the secular world, and he could be really using this to minister to a lot of people. And I feel like there's a line that needs to be placed of, yeah, I can work with these people musically, but what is appropriate, and am I really trying to reach these people? Am I doing it for just to collab and be more into this space that I wasn't tapped into before? Like for example, like it's like they do this song, and then on top of that, like the rest of the lyrics are really not honoring God. You know what I'm saying? It's really a lot of prosperity, a lot of raunch, mixed in with raunchiness, and then the rest of the album is just like complete raunch. So like that's the example of what you were saying, like not walking with people, and these people also have like a slight raunchy side to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and let me
Didn't she get a Grammy for that?
Yeah.
Was it a Grammy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The song was terrible.
Yeah, she got a Grammy for that because the secular people voted for that.
It wasn't a good song though.
It wasn't good at all.
Go ahead, bro.
Like, I don't know what award it was. I think was it best gospel artist or best gospel song?
Yeah,
I think she did that. It wasn't like BET Award. She won that.
It made a lot of people mad, rightfully, because she shouldn't have even been in the category, in my opinion.
So I'm gonna use the example that you just used. If you married and you got your ring on, and we know you married, and we see you out with other women, what does that make you look like?
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say that to segue to this. Just like you said, he's on her album. So what song is he in between?
2 really raunchy songs.
Well,
Okay. So what am I associated with?
Raunchiness.
Where do I belong? How do we? So we just say, okay, we're gonna forget everything else y'all heard. My problem with that, my problem with this issue is you introduce to the church who
yeah,
you got some church people who might not even know who Glorilla is, period.
yeah.
But because Kurt Franklin is on her album, I gotta go find her. I gotta go find her because he's on her album.
Mm-hmm.
He stamps her. If he is the Christian, he stamps her. So I don't know nothing about Glorilla. I gotta go find this album and listen to all this other music. Oh, and then we just gonna slap Jesus in the middle of it, and he okay? My
Shut
problem
her.
is music is so powerful. And I think we really, the secular and the Christian side, I think we take for granted how powerful music is. And I'm gonna leave you with this. The devil was kicked out of heaven. He was the worship leader. You gotta really think about this. He took a third of the angels with him that were in the presence of God. How did he do this? With music, you got people to leave the presence of God because you were that gifted. Why don't we think about it like that down here? If he took angels from the presence of God, what you think musicians down here doing?
Same
That are
thing.
being led by the devil, that are lyrically being given lyrics from Satan.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing is happening, but it's stronger now.
Mm-hmm.
Satan is just his ability never changed. He's still a worship leader.
Mm-hmm.
And Satan owns the music industry, whether it's gospel or secular.
Period. Because
Mm.
the gospel record labels are just subsidiaries of the secular labels. They got smart, or the Christians are not going. The Christians are not going to do this. So if you look at Verity, Verity was owned by a secular label. So
Mm.
all the gospel ones are not gospel. They own. It's almost like, okay, I got this business over here. This one is named High Church. This one is named Low Church. But I still own them, and I don't even believe in Christ.
Listen, Sony and Warner own everybody,
Everybody.
and they're the most demonic of them all. So you got to look at the foundation of it, and a lot of the execs and the A&Rs, and it's all a game. It's not. It's just business. It's transactional.
It's business.
I, as a songwriter, have struggled in like the last year and a half since I've really been seeking God, because I know people that will write for Beyonce and have written for her. I won't do it. I get phone calls regularly to collaborate and write on an industry level. I can't get behind it. It don't feel right no more.
Yeah.
It used to be nothing for me to write them songs and give me a check. I can't be associated now. It's guilty by association. I can't sit here and say I'm following God, but I just wrote and referenced the track for the City Girls. That was where I drew the line. The last time I did a major track like that, it was for the City Girls. It was so raunchy.
Mm.
It took me so many takes to get it out because it felt so wrong.
Yeah.
And I told them then, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Wow.
That's it. Because somebody's daughter is listening to this. I can't get behind it. And so I've struggled writing because the opportunities I'm getting are for artists who promote sex and all that. And I just don't want to promote that. That's the easy way. That's the easy route. That's the easy money. But it's leading so many people. Flesh is like the biggest battle most people are dealing with, is their flesh.
Right.
Absolutely.
And the music is all about flesh.
It is.
So it's just, finding anything else to talk about is, it's not hard for me,
but getting the artist to receive it and accept it and want to use it, it's not likely. Unless I'm just strictly doing gospel, and then it's, are they even convicted? Like, are they even called? Now they've got the lyrics, but they're just performing it.
Right.
So it's so many different aspects. I see the same repetitive spirit in certain scenarios, and I've always been able to see certain things, but like even down to the homosexual choir director, like that's so standard in our churches and so many of our churches that it's become part of the culture. But that's like a repetitive spirit that's leading our children, that's making it okay because you see it in all our churches and acceptable, but it's really not. And our sons and our daughters, like, that's not how it's supposed to be, whether it makes us uncomfortable to say that or not. And a lot of people are uncomfortable. They don't want to hurt feeling that, no, it's not right. It's not right. It's a sin.
Right.
But we condone it, or it's been condoned. It's been so normalized. So it's just so many things that we need to unlearn as a people.
I agree.
That
I mean, you hitting it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You hitting it on the head, like you said. The point blank of it all, and my fault, Jay, I didn't know if you was about to talk.
No, you got it.
I think the whole crux of it is it goes back to what we said before. There is a standard when you come into this line, and I almost said a line of business, but it's not even. I wouldn't even necessarily say that. Once you claim Christianity or you claim that you follow Jesus, there's a standard that's automatically you're labeled on. And I think the issue is with a lot of it, whether you on the national scale, international, even on the local level, you have to be at this standard. And you said it earlier, B, that the standard is lowered just because you have a great gift and because you have a great draw. And initially, even tying back into what you were saying, Jay, and what you were saying, Ryan, that if you're not holding to this standard, then there's no conviction there. There's not souls that's being drawn to Jesus. There's not people that's looking to be more like him because I can still get to the bag and stay where I'm at and put my and have my talent in the gospel section. You know what I'm saying? Like it's, and I think we can do better. My personal conviction is if we can take care of this on the local level, then by the time it gets to the national, it won't be there anymore. So I think my question to all of us here are like, what's the advice that you would give to those that are listening to this, who might be artists, who might be musicians or worship leaders at their local church, even the leader themselves? What is your advice or your suggestion to them and how to ensure that, yes, we are keeping the main thing, and even if you are paying your musicians, singers, whatever the case may be, how do you go about not controlling, but that you don't lose the integrity of the position? Go ahead, G.
Go ahead, y'all. Go ahead.
I'll go first on this one again. and I'll speak to this from the aspect of transformation as a whole. I am one of the worship leaders at our church. I am one of the ministers at our church. This is all volunteer. I don't get no lick of a check, nothing at all. But that does not bother me. One, because I love what it is that I do. I am, to the comment that just came in there, I am saved for real. I have such a fear of God that I will not allow myself not to be up to par before people. So I think to the musician or the lead or the singer, get an actual real relationship with God. Read your Bible,
Yep.
pray, get into community with people that's going to challenge you and to groom you and to grow you more in your word. Those are the people that you take the questions to and do all of that. Now, from a leader aspect, I can speak on it as much as I know. Like I said, I've never been in this position. But I think if you are going to pay somebody, please be sure that you're willing to walk life with them instead of it just being transactional. Whether that's your musician, whether that's your singer, whether you bringing in somebody, it don't matter. Because, like we mentioned earlier, once you set that relationship as transactional, then that's kind of how it's going to be viewed. And it can be very hard if you're not leading with the fact of, oh, hey, I am planning a church or whatever the case may be. I think B, you said that earlier, so I think we can kind of speak this a little bit more. But even if I do need help right now, I think the leader has two choices to make. Either you're going to bring somebody in that's temporary because you are paying them, or you're going to suffer without the thing that you feel like you need, so you can actually raise up somebody.
Right.
But I think the issue is that we don't do a lot of the training in-house, so we have to outsource for it.
Instant
And then now you
gratification.
have to deal with the fact that you outsource for something that's either A, not reliable, or two, they don't reflect what it is that God has called you to build.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I agree. I piggyback on that, and I think in a lot of cases when you're talking about God told me to start a church, I don't think God is ever going to tell you to do something that He doesn't supply everything you need. It needs to be a little bit more trust. It needs to be a little bit more trust in God to do what He told you to do. Give Him the space to be able to do that. Sometimes you might have to start with putting in the MP3 player and letting the song play across the speaker. If God told you to do it and you can't afford musicians and they're charging, maybe either God didn't tell you to do it, or maybe it's not the time to do it now, or maybe you need to do it another way.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to have a band.
Yeah.
You don't have to have that. So I think a lot of it, then on the musicians and the singer side, you have to question whether or not, first off, why you doing it? Why are you doing it? If you're doing it just for a paycheck, okay, I really think you should be honest about that. And I think pastors, I think that table discussion should be, we should have standards in that table discussion, and both sides should be accountable. If you tell them you're going to do something, do what you say you're going to do. And the same with musicians. Now, on the flip side, I've seen the musicians say, okay, we worthy of this pay, but rehearsal start at 6:30 and you get there at 7 o'clock. You're not prepared for none of your music. You get on Sunday, you get there Sunday morning, you learn the music, which you're supposed to learn during the week. Okay, I understand that. There's some of them say, well, I'm not getting paid enough, you know what I'm saying, do the rehearsal. Well, that was the conversation that needed to be had at the table when you started. Know your worth. If the pastor's offering $100 for one rehearsal and service on Sunday, 2 services, if that ain't your worth, don't accept the job. And then talk about the pastor.
Right. Right.
I'm gonna leave that right there.
Oh, also let me throw this in here too. Even if you are being hired for the help, make sure that you actually have come to the table with numbers and with something that's in hand, and that you are explaining to your point what you feel like you're worth. Because I do think to help out those that are in leadership, if you kind of leave it up to them, I think you put yourself in that position. If we just gonna keep a spade a spade.
Yeah.
So come to the table with something that's either written or them to communicate. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, be prepared. Do
There you
your
go.
research. Be prepared. Like I had to learn from artistry to songwriting to properly collecting my royalties. Like you need to be prepared to let them know what percentage you're expecting, what you're expecting up front, what you're and if they bout it, they gonna sign that paperwork and y'all have agreement. Or if you need to negotiate, sometimes you gotta negotiate.
Right.
Um, but you just need to be prepared.
All right.
When you come in there and you're like, I don't know, what do you think you should pay me? No, that's giving inexperienced and amateur, and I'm gonna take advantage of you.
Right.
And you can't let people take advantage of you. And I've learned, thankfully, because my background is sales. I've been in the car business for almost 15 years. I had to learn how to stand my ground there because I went straight out of high school into selling cars. So that put me in a position where I get in these rooms, I can negotiate and I stand my ground. Like, this is my worth. This is what I expect. And maybe we can negotiate, but it's got to be within a certain means. And then they know that you mean business. A lot of people think people don't take it serious because a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't take their artistry very serious. It's a hobby. But for actual artists who, I know people that make a full living off of artistry and that's it,
Mm-hmm.
and they have all their contracts in order. They have their business in order. So I just say, get your business in order if that's what your livelihood is doing this.
Yeah.
If it's not that serious to you, I still say get your business in order, but it's just different levels to it. Intent is such a big part of all of it. Like, what is your intention? What is your end goal? Like, who are you trying to reach? Like, what are it's just so many aspects to it, and that's why I am where I currently am with music and performing and everything.
Yeah.
Like, I pray about everything now. Like, God would lead me, and I take the path of least resistance. Usually, if it's from God, it flows.
Yeah.
If it's from God, like, He give you everything you need, everything will fall right in place. If you get a whole bunch of resistance, and it usually ain't from Him. It's usually not what He wants you to do. At least that's my experience. So I just say
Sure.
consult God and do your research.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. 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 I say, Jay, you got anything to add on to that?
Yeah, I want to add on to what you said about like the musicians finding a place where they can grow and be discipled, and I feel like the most important part for them in that part is really being grounded in their word, because they could try to do that and still end up in a place where they're being falsely discipled.
For sure.
And those 66 books are the best way to figure out if this church that I'm attending is like not the place for me. They're
Yeah.
screwing me over. They're treating me this way. They're not being honest, or they're exactly what the Bible says in the New
Yeah.
Testament, how the churches were that were being set up by the apostles. Um, you know,
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with that. I definitely
Makes a
agree with
world of
that.
difference.
Say it again.
I said it makes a world of difference when you know the word or some of the, like, just in the year of learning the word that I've learned. It's so many things I'd be like, wait, that ain't right. That ain't what like you get like, that ain't what it say. You
Right.
realize a lot of people manipulate and paraphrase to their
Yeah.
benefit,
Yeah.
and it's like
it's
that ain't it.
Yeah.
there's actually
So
it's a term for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 it's
Yeah.
in seminary they call it eisegesis and exegesis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exegesis is when
Ah,
people put their
okay.
own meaning into the scriptures, and
Yeah.
exegesis is when you're just preaching straight from what scripture says
Yes.
in its true meaning.
That's crazy. That makes
Yeah.
okay. That word came up today, and so that's
Oh,
confirmation
word.
because I
Okay,
was listening
cool.
to Jackie Hill Perry's new project,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yeah,
it's so good. But she's got that one song called Exegesis, and I was like, what does that mean? And I
Yeah.
hadn't got around to looking into it, but now I know.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Jackie is she 1-on-1. That's for sure. Like,
She a real one.
yeah. And I must say this, and I'm gonna make this charge. Live, we have to stop from all angles of what we talk about, saying and or singing and or playing stuff just for things to go viral.
Oh yeah.
Agreed.
Wanting stuff to go viral, I think, has killed the sacredness, killed the holiness of things, and it caused us to really look at things from let me say this, more of a business aspect rather than it actually being the relational thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Because even to your point with Ryan and Jay, what y'all were saying, a lot of people say certain things, sing certain things, play certain things because they know it'll get attention. And when the attention is more coming towards you rather than it is to Jesus, then that's when we have a problem. And that's what it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but this was really good. I almost kind of feel like there's gonna be a part 2.
A part. Yeah. Yeah. This is good. I appreciate this.
Man.
And just to what you just said about the social media and all that, I feel like when you are doing it for God, it just hit different. And for me, as a rapper, I feel like I could rap anything. That's easy. But singing, God does not allow me to sing secular music. I can only sing gospel music.
Wow.
Like, I struggle to sing anything else. And so that to me is my confirmation. He only gives me that flow when it's for him. And I'm like, okay, all right. He hasn't allowed me to release any of it, like none of it, because he's like, that's for me.
Yeah, it is. Man, yo, wow. Like I said, man, this is so huge. And I'm so glad that we was able to have this conversation in front of others for them to take away from it. But I'll be remiss if I didn't give all of y'all any last moments, any last comments, any of that.
Well, I would say to the ones out there that's frustrated, don't get discouraged in well doing. God just wants your gift. At the end of the day, God wants the credit and the glory for your life. Period.
Yes, sir.
I ain't got nothing else to say, y'all.
You said it for me.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, man. I just appreciate y'all answering the call because, like I said, man, I'm one of those that I hate backroom frustrations. And I've started to see that this has become more of a frustration, and there's a lot of people who don't have solutions. So, on top of trying to provide a solution, I'm all about doing things in order and trying to raise up those who are able to carry it. Because I think, matter of fact, Ryan, I think I might have said this to you one Sunday. I think when you brought your boys up, just because it doesn't sound church and ease doesn't mean that it's not going to be effective. As long as your heart posture behind it, and then your fruit is actually speaking for itself. So I want those who are being requested, because God's going to send people out. However, we need to get everything integrated on the local level before we try to give people platforms. And that's more or less what I'm concerned about is the backroom conversations. Are they fruitful? Are they full of him? And are we actually raising up a generation to know how to handle the other aspects of it with fruit? So I don't see any other questions from those who are watching. So I'm gonna take that as in we kind of did a little bit of our job here. So y'all, again, from Ryan to Brandon to Jay, man. I appreciate y'all taking y'all's evening out and having this conversation. And y'all, thank y'all for watching. Make sure that y'all share, that y'all tag somebody into this conversation. That I think it was fruitful. But with that being said, y'all, I think that's the end of it. We're gonna holler at y'all later. Peace out to the mill. Peace. See y'all. Ooh, did it end? Yep, it did.